If you're struggling to get your baby to eat solids, you might have tried things like changing up the food, turning the meal into a game by singing songs, turning on the TV, or pretending to be a food delivering airplane, or you might have even bought every single baby spoon and tried them all. Too often I talk to parents who've tried all of this and they're stressed out because none of it's worked. And most of the time it comes down to one foundational piece being not quite right. No matter what you do, if you don't get this one thing right, mealtimes are going to continue to be a struggle. Believe it or not, the size of the high chair, both how tall and how wide it is, can make a big difference in how easily your baby takes to eating solid foods. Let's put this in adult terms for a moment. Imagine you're sitting in a low cushioned armchair trying to eat at a bar height table. Reaching for your food would be uncomfortable and awkward, and this is precisely the sort of discomfort your baby might be feeling when they're in a high chair that is not proportionate to their size. While many high chairs on the market check off adult-centered criteria like easy to clean, portability, and style, they often fall short when it comes to ergonomics tailored to a baby's needs, and that's where the real issue lies. Typically, when seated in a high chair, the tray or dining table usually aligns with or rises above the baby's shoulders, which means that your little one is not able to properly see the food laid out in front of them. Now, this is a problem because eating starts with our eyes. We all like to look at what we're eating before we taste it. In fact, we usually look at our food, evaluate it, and only then do we decide whether we want to eat it or not. So if your baby can't clearly see the mashed carrots or banana slices you prepared, you can't really expect them to be eager to try it. Being able to clearly see the food is crucial for another reason. At this age, your little one is still mastering the basics of grabbing things, and they rely heavily on their eyes to guide their hands. So if the tray or dining table is positioned too high, it can actually obstruct their view of the food, and that makes it even more challenging for them to reach out and grab these items. Just like you would struggle to pick up a glass of water with your eyes closed, your baby will struggle to reach for and grab food if they can't see it. And this can lead to frustration on their part, and it might even discourage them from wanting to try to eat on their own. In addition to the height, the width of the high chair seat is another key factor that often slips parents' minds. Now, you might think it's a minor detail, but it holds a significant importance, particularly for babies around 6 to 7 months of age. At this age, babies can usually sit up by themselves for short periods, but they don't often have the core strength to hold that position for an entire 15-minute meal. So, when they're placed in a high chair that's too wide for their size, you'll find that they're likely to lean or slump to one side. They may even use the edges of the high chair for support, anchoring themselves as best they can. Now, while this shows adaptability on their part, it's far from what you'd call an optimal position for eating. Slumping or leaning to one side in an overly wide high chair triggers a series of mealtime challenges. The most immediate impact is going to be on your baby's arm movements. A slouch position can actually wedge one arm against the side of the chair, essentially restricting it and making it difficult for your baby to use both their hands for exploring and grasping their food. And even if they do manage to have both arms free, this sidelining posture still poses a challenge. In this position, it becomes awkward for them to extend their arms and reach for items on that food tray or the table. And this can make the act of eating, a task that already requires a bit of coordination for a young baby, even more difficult. Secondly, and more importantly, that seemingly harmless slouch posture your baby adopts in the high chair can have a significant impact on how well they can swallow their food. When your baby leans to one side in their high chair, their head tends to tilt that same way too. And this might appear minor, but it actually causes a misalignment in their esophagus, which is the muscular tube that's responsible for transporting food from the mouth down to the stomach. Now, you may think, well, it's just a slight lean, but even this subtle change in position can add a layer of complexity to the already challenging task of swallowing, especially for a baby who is just getting the hang of it. As a result of this minor head twist in their esophagus, your baby now has to work harder to move the food down this tube. Try it yourself. Take a sip of water while sitting upright, and then take another sip while leaning to the side. You'll likely notice that it's not as easy to swallow when your head is tilted. The same applies to your baby. This misalignment also increases the risk of aspiration, which is where the food or liquid doesn't go down the esophagus to the stomach, but instead goes down the wrong pipe, heading towards the lungs. So as you can see, if the high chair isn't set up correctly, it can make meals uncomfortable and even unsafe for your baby. So let's look at how you can easily fix these issues by making a few quick adjustments to the high chair. The first step is to focus on the tray or table height. For the ideal setup, your baby's arms should rest comfortably on the tray or the table when their arms are down by their sides with their elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. Having their arms in this position ensures that your baby is comfortable and can easily use their hands during meal times. It also means that they can see their food, which is important when you are introducing your little one to solids. Another key element for successful mealtimes is choosing the right spoon. The right spoon makes it easier for your baby to eat, reduces the risk of gagging and choking, and helps with the development of the crucial skills required to eat independently. To help you choose the right one, I've created a Mealtime Essentials Guide, which contains my favourite utensils, plates and cups based on your child's age and developmental stage. To get your free copy, click the link in the description below this video. Now, to achieve the perfect tray or table height, it is highly likely that you will need to move the seat up. So, if your high chair allows for height adjustment, simply raise the seat. However, if the high chair you're using has a fixed seat height, a simple solution is to put some folded towels underneath your baby's bottom to lift them up until the tray is at the right height. Once you've adjusted the seat height, the next step is to take a look at the footrest. It's important for your baby to actually be able to place their feet on the footrest for better support and comfort. And you may have observed that in many high chairs, your baby's feet are left hanging. This can make them uncomfortable and fidgety. Just think about how you'd feel if you were sitting in a bar stool without a place to rest your feet. So, to ensure your little one has maximum comfort, you want to position the footrest so that when your baby's feet are resting on it, their hips, knees and ankles all bend at 90-degree angles. Now, if your high chair features an adjustable footrest, getting the footrest to the right height is really easy. You just simply move it up or down until you achieve that perfect height. But if your high chair has a non-adjustable footrest that's too low, you can easily make a temporary one. Just attach a pool noodle or a plastic box to the current footrest to elevate it, and this will allow your baby's feet to rest comfortably on it. After making sure your little one's feet are supported by the footrest, the next step is to focus on giving them side support. As I mentioned earlier, most high chair seats can be quite wide, leading to babies leaning or tipping to the side. So to prevent this from happening and ensure that your little one is able to maintain that upright position, you want to place rolled up washcloths or tea towels along the sides of their bodies from their thighs to below their rib cage. This not only provides the postural support they need, but it also ensures that they can move their arms freely. Next up is the harness. When setting up the harness, you want to make sure that the shoulder straps are level with or just above your baby's shoulders. This keeps your little one secure in the high chair without putting pressure on their neck or their chest. You also want to make sure that the buckle on the crutch strap is below your baby's belly button and level with their hips. This placement prevents them from being able to slide down the chair and is much safer than having the buckle up near their chest, which could potentially make it harder for them to breathe if they were to accidentally slide down. Finally, the harness should be snug but not overly tight. A good way to gauge this is to see if you can slide 2 fingers between the harness straps and your baby's chest. This ensures that the harness is secure without being too restrictive, keeping your little one both safe and comfortable. In addition to getting the high chair settings just right, there are more things that you can do to help your baby happily transition to solid foods, which is exactly what I go through in this video. If you skip these key steps, introducing new foods can become a challenging ordeal. However, following them makes the whole process less stressful for both you and your baby. And best of all, these tips can also help prevent your little one from becoming a picky eater down the road. So make sure you check it out.